Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Arduna, this is my mom Gina.
He's a journalist.
And she's the enthusiast.
I must be enthusiastic about what we're doing because it is so cold, folks. The fact that it's not snowing is because there's not like 1 ounce of moisture in the air, because if it was, we'd be under 10 feet of snow. It is super cold outside.
It is so cold that we're frozen right now.
We are free to, like, the movement on the deck is not moving.
It's like 20 degrees
with a wind chill in the low teens.
With wind chill, which makes it like, yes, 13 degrees. So,
but we're out here.
We are doing our show because it's an outdoor show.
It's an outdoor show.
This is what we do. So let's go ahead and get into it so we can get rolling. All right, so today's show is about the college football bowl games.
Yeah.
And really what's the relevance of the bowl games up to this point.
They kind of stink.
Right now we're just trying to depict if it's worth it or not. Is it really that big a deal for kids to continue to go to these bowl games when we have this new playoff system? And quite frankly, it's a big deal it should be a big deal for these kids, but there are so many factors going into why they're really not that big a deal anymore. And so I just know that when I played and when I was, in my day of college football, it was a big deal. That was the end goal. And the point that when you get to that point of the season where you're like, hey, I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, we got to this point, it is the reward. But now there's so many different bowl games. It's kind of like everyone gets a piece of the pie instead of, hey, everyone gets just one pie. Instead of everyone getting like one pie to themselves, everyone's getting every single person's getting a pie. So it's not the same.
The bowl games used to be, there first of all were just a few of them, just the big ones. And the whole point of the bowl games is to celebrate a winning season. And back in the day, there were less games in the whole season, and then you had to have at least 8 wins to go. And I remember when it was like, 7 wins made you eligible, and then it had to be a certain kind of wins. It couldn't just be over FCS games. Then it was as long as you have 6 games, which is basically a 50% win record. And then last year, there were so many bowl games, they were inviting teams with losing records to come to bowl games. And I think Texas got invited to a bowl this year with a losing record and said no. There were other schools last year. Mizzou got invited to a bowl game last year with a losing record and said no. But certain teams, my team that I love, the Huskers, had a losing record last year and said yes. So here's the thing. You got a losing record, you go to the bowl game, you win the bowl game, you still have a losing record for the year.
Right.
Now, that being said, the bowl games used to be about pageantry. You'd go down there for a week, 3, 4, 5 days before the game, and you've got fan fest. You get to eat the local food. You got the media. You guys get to stay in the hotel. When you do the Alamo Bowl, you go cruising down the Riverwalk to San Antonio, and the bands are playing. It's a whole thing. Some of them have parades, and your family gets to be there, and then you play the celebratory game that you play for real. It counts. But now I feel like some of these bowl games, which kick off this weekend, you got the New Mexico Bowl. Okay, that's fine. It's sponsored. It's the Gildan New Mexico Bowl. So the brand Gildan that makes t-shirts and draws is sponsoring the New Mexico Bowl. One of the teams playing in the New Mexico Bowl is New Mexico.
Correct.
How is that a bowl game?
Well, it doesn't give kids or players the type of fantasy or that like you said, kind of the pageantry. It takes away, it loses its luster. And that's what's happening is there are so many bowl games. The bowl games are now diluted. And like I was saying, my pie analogy, which wasn't great, but it was the point that almost anyone can just go into a bowl game now. Like you mentioned, to the point of below 500 teams are now being invited to bowl games. That's a problem. It doesn't mean anything for your season if you don't have a winning record and you can still end up in a bowl game. And it's too bad for those kids that do work their tails off for the season. And it's like, hey, if there's an opportunity to have postseason play, yeah, it'd be great to go. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a kid that does something bad, but he still gets the benefit of what everybody else is doing. How is that fair? And so back in the day, it was never like that. And like you said, there weren't that many bowl games. And so it was a lot more competitive. And so the celebration was, hey, we've worked this hard to get to this point. And we're going to say that, hey, kids that aren't working hard, they're not working hard, that aren't
that's not what we're saying,
on a winning team.
Right.
But at the same time, the pageantry and the big celebration is, is being rewarded for teams that didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Which is win. Which, you know, if I'm going to help you out with that pie analogy, because here's what that reminds me of. We now have, back in the day, I'm going to take you back. When I was growing up in the 70s, you'd go out and you'd run track, and, you know, because I started running track when I was little, and you'd either win or not. And they gave out a blue ribbon, a red ribbon, blue, red, and green. And I think sometimes a meet you might get like a purple or a yellow.
Yeah,
you know,
yellow. Yeah, there were. Fourth was yellow.
That was it.
Yeah.
If you came in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or whatever, you didn't get a ribbon.
Correct.
Nowadays, you go out to the track meet, everybody gets a gold ribbon that says participant.
Yes.
Then you don't get blue anymore.
Right.
And the same gold ribbon everybody gets. One of them might say first place on it, but a lot of them don't want to put that because, you know, we don't want to let the kids feel that. You go to the little, you know, the basketball games for the young kids, they don't have the scoreboard on. They're not keeping score. Now you get to the season, even seasons where you win, you come out there, you get a trophy. The number one team that went undefeated gets a trophy this big with the thing on it. Guess what the team that lost every game gets? A trophy this big with the thing on it. That's what the bowl system has become.
Yeah.
We're not rewarding excellence anymore. We are just providing a blanket for mediocrity.
And
that's what your pie analogy was trying to say.
Well, and I think another thing that to add to that, with these teams that win and do what they're supposed to. They have their 7 wins or 8 wins or whatever.
A winning season.
Right. They did what they were supposed to do. The teams that did not, like I said, they're getting rewarded for basically just playing the game. And if that's the case, then what's the point of having bowl games when anyone can continue on and or extend their season? And so we do understand the benefits of the bowl games, but what the point is that if there are so many bowl games that you're now having to reach for below 500 teams, maybe that says that there's too many of them to begin with.
Say that again. If there are so many bowl games that you have to invite teams with losing records, maybe you have
There's just too many
bowl games.
And you know, another problem with it is like you were just saying, Gildan, who does make t-shirts and drawers and socks and all of that and clothing, there's so many brands or sponsorships now. You don't even know whose bowl is the name of the bowl game.
Whose bowl is it?
Exactly. And
it's actually the New Mexico Bowl, but it's the Gildan New Mexico Bowl.
Right. And we understand that, you know, there are sponsors. Like we get with at least those bigger bowl games, like you understand the Tostitos. Tostitos is a brand of chips, but it worked well with what, you know, the FedEx. We understand these companies invest into the bowl game. So I'm not saying that companies shouldn't invest into these bowl games, but but these lower bowl games where you don't even know, like last year the national championship, it was either one of the BCS games or one of the Final Four games was, and it might have been the actual national championship. Yeah. The Battle Frog whatever bowl game. And does anyone even know what Battle Frog is? I can tell you what it is.
Please tell me what it is, because I don't know what it is. What is that?
It's the name of the mud runs for what people do.
Oh,
it's the
I do know what that is.
Man run.
Oh, right,
but
right.
I
do know what that is. Yeah, the Red Warrior run and
yes,
stuff.
but it's called the Battle Frog. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, it's not a traditional name. Like I said, people understand FedEx, or it just sounds right, you know.
So you're saying that you have so many bowl games that you can have JoJo's Car Shop sponsor the bowl game.
JoJo's Car Wash can sponsor anybody's bowl game and invite the 5 and 7 teams to those bowl games.
No, I got it. We have the On the Deck Bowl.
Let's go ahead and call up.
Out at Arrowhead.
At Arrowhead, we're going to have the On the Deck Bowl at Arrowhead.
Yes, and we're inviting teams with 3 wins.
And we're going to...
That's what we want.
We're going to invite Eastern Michigan.
And a 4-win team.
Exactly. And Tulane to the bowl game here in Kansas City.
Sponsored by On the Deck.
Sponsored by On the Deck.
And what we're going to give you is an opportunity to eat barbecue on our deck.
Exactly.
We're going to do a parade down our cul-de-sac.
and you're going to get a tour of the neighborhood.
We'll go to the neighborhood pool.
Exactly.
It'll be too cold because it is cold here right now. But we'll take you on a tour.
But you get a free T-shirt that says "On the Deck" with our faces
and
on it.
On the Deck's going to be on everything.
On everything. It's the On the Deck Bowl. So that's the point that we're trying to make here with these bowl games. These bowl games should be specialized. They should bring all the fan base. Everyone should be available to go to it. but it should be a reward
for winning.
For winning. And so it's frustrating because the bowl games, they're losing their luster. They really are.
They really are. Well, you know what's really sad? People like us, we're going to watch every one of them.
And I'm going to watch
every one of them.
Because we're football junkies, and I love football. We all love football, and this is a football household, so we got no choice but to watch it. So
this is really our fault.
It is our fault.
Because they know we're going to watch.
Exactly. So, you know.
We're clowning because it's cold.
It's cold out here, and we're just giving you what we know, which
what
is
we think.
And it's just it is something that needs to be brought up.
It does.
And so
it's another topic, but we're saying it tongue in cheek because it's kicking off bowl season,
right?
And we'll be watching it too.
But we are excited for postseason play for football. So,
I am.
Yeah.
I'll be all weekend.
With that, we just want to say we thank you for tuning in and continue to follow us on all of our social media pages, and we just want to say. We're going to go inside and warm up because it is
another show to
really cold. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time.